Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll take your seats, we'll get started here. My name is Jerry Kahn. I'm a resident here at Mercy Ridge, and on behalf of Marie Evans, I want to welcome all of you, and so delighted that we have such a big crowd. I'm up here to tell you to please turn your cell phones off. Otherwise, Sarah Wyatt, who is in charge of this theater, has assured me that you will be giving the next presentation. With that, Marie.
Can everyone hear me? Thank you all for being here. When Jerry Kahn asked me, "Weren't you Miss Maryland?" I said, "Yes, but that was a few years ago." And I said, "I'm always surprised that people still ask me that question." And he said, "Yes, and they always will." Although there are a multitude of beauty pageants that celebrate a multitude of happenings, perhaps the most well-known and celebrated is the Miss America pageant. Since it was my good fortune to have participated in the pageant, I have been asked, in honor of Maryland Day, to speak about my experience representing the state of Maryland in 1959, and the years leading up to and beyond the Miss America pageant. It worked. I was born in New York in 1940. My mother, Mary, was a musician, and my dad was a businessman, and I was the eldest of their 6 children. A year after I was born, World War II broke out, and everyone was issued a war ration stamp book, even every child in the household. And this was mine at the age of 1.5, with a few remaining stamps. Jerry said, how did you even save that, right? I began dancing, taking dance lessons at the age of 3, and by 5, I was performing in some recitals in New York, and this was 1945 and 1946 playbills. We moved to Baltimore when I was 10. My father was hired to manage an R.S. Stern Corporation, a ship chandlery in Baltimore, down on the port of Baltimore, and later he opened his own firm, Atlantic Ship Supply. I can remember moving, the excitement of moving from New York to the country. We were going to see farmers milking cows. Our new home was right across the street from Cleveland Dairy Farms in Delaney Valley. What a disappointment to see that they had automatic milking machines. We were looking for Farmer Brown. It was a natural for me to join the 4-H club. And I can remember getting prepared to give a demonstration for credit, and my brothers and sisters moaning, "Oh no, not another peach pie." When I was 12, I was asked by the home demonstration agent, Anna Trenum, to appear on television on the Mary Landis cooking show, WBAL-TV. And I was to demonstrate, it was the fall, I was to demonstrate how to make a Peter Piper pumpkin pie. In those days, the Mary Landis show was the one and only cooking show. Who knew that in today's world you could become a star of stage and screen as you can in today's world as a chef? But then, it was the Mary Landis show. So I made my Peter Piper pumpkin pie, and as I was pouring the ingredients into the pie shell, of course, smiling into the camera, I spilled some, and you could hear it go flop, flop, flop. You could hear Anna Trenholm gasp, but I kept on smiling, and I said, whoops, a little mistake. And then I finished my demonstration. But when I got into the car with my mother, I sobbed that my life was over. Everyone saw me spill the pie. I continued to study dance at the Fred Astaire Dance Studios, and I began to make appearances on television. Everybody remember the Buddy Dean show? Everybody in Baltimore? Right. I received an invitation to dance the jitterbug on the Buddy Dean show. In 1954, I guess I was 14, the National Home Week Exposition, sponsored by the Home Builders Association, the first in a number of years, staged by the Hilltop Theater Arts. The production was specially created for the home show. I was a member of the cast, and Don Swan Jr., remember him, was a master of the ceremonies. Also in 1954, I was nominated for membership in Dance Masters of America. That was one of the conventions. When I was 14, I began to teach dance to children in the neighborhood. Tap, ballet, jazz, acrobatics. I taught 75 students after school and on Saturdays. I remember one funny story when a mom brought her 4-year-old daughter into acrobatic class. Go easy on her today, Marie. I'm afraid she's suffering with a hangover. She said, we had a cocktail party, and unbeknownst to us, she found the cherries left in all the Manhattan glasses. We discovered this, she said, after she began doing your somersaults around the room. Each year, we presented a show, Maytime Varieties, on stage at Carroll Manor School. Tickets were sold, and all monies raised went to benefit the March of Dimes to try to find the cure for poliomyelitis. We received excellent newspaper coverage for our benefit productions. We were very proud of our contribution to help eradicate this terrible disease, which was at the time the fear of every parent. I remember hearing later when there was a cure, when Jonas Salk entered a restaurant, everyone stood up and applauded. Here are some additional photographs from performances in 1954, 1955, and 1956. I continued my dance education with Wally Saunders, a well-known Baltimore dance teacher. Goldie Hawn used to come over from DC to take his classes. In 1956, I became Wally's dance partner, and we danced professionally, and this was a performance from the Lyric Theater. I taught baton twirling lessons, and we formed the Lutherville Timonium High Steppers, and we marched in all the parades. Towson High School, where I attended, was such a wonderful school. Our graduating class numbered over 400, I believe. This was a photograph of, in 1958, the senior class pics, and I was voted best dancer. High school graduation picture. We were, it was a great camaraderie. It was a wonderful school. Some of my friends, by the way, from Towson High School are here this evening. That summer after graduation, at the suggestion of the Junior Chamber of Commerce, I entered the Miss Baltimore County pageant, which was the preliminary for the Miss Maryland pageant that year. And I won that year, but due to a technicality, I had to step down and relinquish my crown. It seems that I needed to be 18 by September, and I was not going to be 18 until November. So there was a little article in the paper, age before beauty. I would have to wait another year to compete. I entered the University of Maryland at College Park as a dance and theater major. And that fall, I was lucky to be won the role of, in the University Theater. The production was Born Yesterday, and I played the part of Billy Dawn, a very dipsy blonde. We got great reviews, and there was no time for sorority life. Being a part of University Theater was very exciting and all-consuming time was. So the pageant years. The second annual Miss Baltimore County pageant was held May the 7th, 1959. And that year I would be 18 in time for the Miss Maryland pageant and the Miss America pageant. Jack Wells was Master of Ceremonies. Later I was hired to appear on his weekly television show for a number of weeks as his Girl Friday on camera. The second annual Miss Baltimore County pageant was held May the 7th, 1959. That year, let's see, excuse me, okay. There were many opportunities to appear as, I was repeating myself, sorry. There were many opportunities to appear as Miss Baltimore County, to help celebrate new locations in Baltimore County. In this photograph, taking part in a ribbon cutting with Christian Call, who was the first county executive. His daughter, Lois DeVoe, lives here at Mercy Ridge. In this frame, with Chris Call, we are celebrating and promoting the Towson Outdoor Art Show. Celebrating 300 years of the founding of Baltimore County. I was named the Tricentenary Queen of Baltimore County, and my escort and I were flown into the Baltimore Raceway to celebrate. Here as Miss Interfaith, I appeared with Pat Boone in the 14th annual Interfaith baseball game. The game was sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, Bhumi Temple, and B'nai B'rith. This is with Buddy Dean, promoting the Interfaith baseball game on television. I know. The American Legion Maryland Department has requested Miss Baltimore County to represent the state of Alaska in a pre-game presentation in a ceremony July the 5th, 1959 at Memorial Stadium. I'm pinch hitting in this photo at the bottom with Gus Triandos, as Miss Alaska with Gus Triandos. The Miss Maryland pageant was held August the 8th, 1959 in Hagerstown, Maryland. All kinds of excitement. What a thrill to be crowned Miss Maryland and to get to represent my state in the Miss America pageant. Now, this is an official photograph being crowned Miss Maryland 1959 by the current Miss America, who was Marianne Mobley on the right, and the current Miss Maryland 1958, Mary Roberta Page on the left. Buddy Dean. An interview with Buddy Dean on becoming Miss Maryland in 1959. Various newspaper articles about the new Miss Maryland, a freshman at the University of Maryland, to compete in the Miss America pageant in Atlantic City in the fall. One of the most important prizes to come from winning Miss Maryland is the Pepsi-Cola Scholarship to College. In those years, in the 1950s, the prize of $1,000 a year paid for tuition, room and board for the year. Here, Miss Maryland supports the Heart Association, pictured here with Nelson T. Offutt, the Heart Association president, and handing out literature at the state fair. During the year as Miss Maryland, there were many honorary appearances for various causes and various dedications. Here, Miss Maryland is named Nike Queen of Battery A and given a tour of the Nike site, which was in Jacksonville, Maryland. Miss Maryland supports, excuse me, hold on. Also appearing at the Timonium State Fairgrounds, Miss Maryland appeared as Miss Farmerama for the Massey Ferguson Corporation, celebrating as well Future Farmers of America organization. Later, as Miss Maryland, I flew to Nashville, Tennessee to appear on the Jubilee Show with Red Foley, and the appearance included a skit with Minnie Pearl at the Grand Ole Opry. That was fun. That year, the Jesuit Seminary Guild planned a Jesuit mission jamboree to take place on the campus of Loyola College Fieldhouse evergreen. There was a benefit entertainment show in which I was a cast member to be held at the Alcazar, and all proceeds were to benefit Jesuit missions in Burma, Chile, and India. On September 1, 1959, Governor J. Millard Tawes proclaimed Miss Marilyn Day in honor of Marie Lorraine True. That was way cool. Okay, here Miss Maryland is appearing with actor James Gardner, and we were promoting his latest Western. I received the formal invitation to participate in the Miss America pageant shortly after the contract arrived. Lenora Slaughter had been the director of the pageant since 1935, and she ran a tight ship. It was Lenora who added the talent competition to the pageant, as well as scholarship awards for college, and she also set the bar for respectability. While in Atlantic City competing, the contestants were forbidden to go to nightclubs or bars and could not be seen smoking. As well, in the contract it stated that you were never to be seen in conversation with a man, even if it was a family member, unless you were accompanied by your chaperone. This was some newspaper publicity in advance of the contest. And pictured here also are my two younger sisters, Diana and Adrian, Adrian, for whom my daughter is named. This was the formal photograph for the Miss America pageant. From the moment the contestants arrive at the pageant, every moment of their time is scheduled and planned. Girls and their ever-present chaperones stay together at local hotels with their access to the outside world strictly limited. Contestants spend their time rehearsing and with choreographers, staging dance numbers, working with photographers and coaches, and learning new songs and new routines to dazzle the audience. In addition to group rehearsals, each contestant works on her own presentation, talent, or interview techniques, and practice questions. The judges also hold preliminary interviews, a crucial stop that lasts only a few moments. My mother, Mary True, was a brilliant pianist and my best friend. We had been working together on my song and dance routine, as well as making sure that I came prepared with whatever was going to be needed in Atlantic City. In the summer before the pageant, my mother was in a terrible automobile accident and ended up with 16 fractured bones. In the car were two of the Campofrida children who were unharmed. Nick Campofrida, a well-known television sportscaster, and his wife, Nell, were friends and neighbors out in Delaney Valley. This was not only frightening, but really disappointing for both my mother and me, because she was unable to attend the pageant in Atlantic City, and instead I was assigned a hostess chaperone. She was a lovely person but it wasn't my mother. Bert Parks was still singing to introduce Miss America that year. Bert Parks was Master of Ceremony for the pageant from 1959 to 1979. The owners of the pageant decided to replace him because pageant officials wanted to give the pageant a younger look. They received 500,000 postcards objecting to the change, and his dismissal generated a letter-writing campaign by Johnny Carson. Pictured here is the official photograph of the Miss America contestants of 1959. And you can see Jerry put a little red arrow on the upper right. Also, Miss America is standing in the center, and immediately to her left is the actress Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island. You remember that? I remember during one of the rehearsals, we sat next to each other on stage, and she said, "You know, Marie, I'm never going to win this contest." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because I represent Nevada, and Nevada is the home of Las Vegas and gambling casinos, and that just doesn't fit the image portrayed by the Miss America pageant." Really cute girl. These are the contestants on stage rehearsing the swimsuit portion of the pageant in the center. This was some swimsuit publicity photograph of the contestants at the Marlboro Blenheim Pool Club in Atlantic City. There I'm on the arrow, right. There was a law professor, Lawrence N. Park from Temple University, who sent me this photograph. He said that I was the only one looking into his camera. These are three neighboring contestants, Miss Delaware, Miss Maryland, and Miss District of Columbia. Thank you. In the week surrounding the pageant, there was a boardwalk parade featuring all the contestants. Our float represented Glen L. Martin Corporation. They sponsored us. And the theme was muskets to missiles. And we were awarded second place in the boardwalk parade, so I was able to bring home a lovely Miss America pageant honorary trophy.
Oh, no.
This is a page from the program featuring Miss Maryland and other title holders. There was Miss Indiana,
It's up to you.
Miss Iowa, Miss Kansas, Miss Kentucky, Miss Louisiana, Miss Maine, Miss Maryland, and Miss Massachusetts, just some of the girls. These are official photographs from from the swimsuit and the evening gown competition. There were specific rules regarding the type of swimsuit worn, as well as directives as to your style of evening gown. In the talent competition, I sang and danced to the music, The Best Things in Life Are Free.
The moon belongs to everyone. The best things in life are free.
Of course, we had to have a musical arrangement suitable for the orchestra. Fortunately, my father's cousin, Henry Silverne, known as Hank Silverne professionally, was the musical director for the Jackie Gleason Show in New York. I remember going to his brownstone building in New York to go over the details of my performance. When the pageant was over, I received a note from Hank. As I told you on the phone, since you could never afford my fee, there isn't any for my services. Followed by a little postscript. It may be cousinly prejudice, but I think the judges were nearsighted. Once the Atlantic City pageant came to a close in September, there remained the whole year of representing Maryland at many celebrations and dedications. Here, Glenn L. Martin employees and Miss Maryland enjoy a family day at Memorial Stadium. Promoting the Glenn L. Martin Day at the stadium, Baltimore Orioles player Abby Pearson, posing as baseball's first astronaut, receives a going-away kiss from Miss Maryland. Growing up in my family, my mother in music, everyone in my family, you either sang, you danced, or you played an instrument. We were not so much involved in sports. So when I was appearing at one of these stadium events, as I was leaving, this really cute baseball player came running up to me and said, "Wouldn't you like my autograph?" I said, "Sure, who are you?" Turns out it was Jimmy Pearsall, and I believe they subsequently made a movie of his life. Miss Maryland is named Queen of the 35th Annual Mummers Parade in Hagerstown. Some 70,000 persons were expected to attend to witness 4,000 gaily clad marchers, the marching throngs, 40 bands and drum and bugle corps, and a score of floats vied for 5,000 in prizes. Mummers parades are great. Promoting the Keep America Beautiful campaign at the regional conference in Baltimore at the Emerson Hotel, April 4th and 5th in 1960. Pictured here with Donald Hardenbrook, chairman of the board, Keep America Beautiful, and Cecil Dawson, president. Each contestant in the Miss America pageant signed a pledge. As Miss Maryland, I promise that I will lend my influence to the fullest extent of my ability to stimulate